Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hey, how are
Hey.
you? Yes, episode 39. We have a very special guest. Wow, wow, wow. Mom Jones, Sybil Jones of Mamas and Coffee. Woo, woo, look at these two. Shauna,
We all had the same
we
reaction.
already know, right? Yes, yeah, this is all
Speak the
so
same whoop whoop
wonderful.
language.
Yes, yes, yes. Very happy to have you here, Sybil.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Shauna, for introducing Sybil of Mamas and Coffee to us. Just really amazing and very nice to meet you. So I'm going to throw it over to Shauna so she can say a few
Yes.
words.
Yes. Sybil Jones, Mamas and Coffee, a very, 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 very good friend of mine, online friends for 5 years. We are dying to meet each other. It almost happened a couple times. We
Yes.
know it's going to happen, so we don't get twisted about it. We know it's going to be at the right time and the right place when we finally meet each other. We've done a lot of collabs together over the last few years. We are very supportive of one another's work, and we believe in a lot of the same things with the inner work and working with our clients and trying to impact and empower them as much as we can. And what I like about Sybil is that she believes in empowering and impacting women one sip at a time. That's the Mamas and Coffee way. So Sybil, let us know who you are. What do you do? Where are you at? What's going on?
Oh, well, thank you, ladies, for having me. I was so excited when Shauna, when you asked me about coming on. I was like, yes, oh my
Yay.
goodness.
Thank you.
So I am Sybil Jones, aka Mom Jones, and as Shauna said, I am the creator and owner of Mamas and Coffee. We are like super duper real and raw up in there, okay? I am a mother of three girls. They are 12, 14, and 16. There is never a dull moment up in this house.
I can imagine.
Wow.
Ever. My poor husband, he just deals with us. He rolls with it. I am a Navy wife. It will be 19 years, March 30th.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I own a little Maltese by the name of Carlos.
Which is in love with Mia.
Yes.
And Mia's in love with Carlos.
Really?
Carlos.
Let him know Mia is a lot to handle. Let me tell you.
Yes.
He's bossy. I hope he's ready.
Oh, look, Carlos is bossy too. He was trying to get bacon this morning. I was like, no, dude, you're not getting my bacon. But yeah, I own Mamas and Coffee. I do a couple of different things actually. Mamas and Coffee is my baby. I recently started Mil Spouse Conversations, which is real conversations that we say all military spouses and non-military spouses need to hear. We talk about things that other people really don't want to talk about. We bring it to the table.
Yes.
And I also do Sybil Talks, which is, Shauna knows this, I kind of branched some of my discussions away from Mamas and Coffee because I operated for so long in fear. And I talk a lot about body image, but from the skinny perspective. And I didn't really know how to bring that to the world without feeling like I was either going to step on someone's toes or get throat punched myself. Because that is body image from the skinny perspective is something that is often dismissed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I kind of just branched that out a little bit, and I said, let me just put my name on it so it is not associated with the audience I had already built. Although my husband was like, nope, that is you. You tell your story wherever you want to. So,
That's right.
And he's so supportive, and I love that.
Awesome.
You call him? They call him Dad Jones? Is that what they call him?
Yeah,
on the online world.
We call him Dad Jones. My husband is very private. So he's always like, don't show my picture. No, I'm not going to take a picture. And I'm like, yes, you are. So I was like, can I give you a screen name? It's like, oh, Dad Jones. So Dad
So
Jones.
Cool. And the community's always asking about how is he doing? What's going on with him?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
Excellent. Can you give us a fun fact and tell us how tall you are?
Ooh, well, that depends. That depends. Okay, so I used to always say, "Oh, I'm 5'7", and people were like, "You're taller than 5'7". So then I'm like,
Yes.
"Well, if you're trying to hire me for a modeling job, I'm 5'8". But I believe I'm about 5'7.5". I'm about 5'7".
You look so tall. When we did a dancing, you and I danced together on a video. I was looking at you in a video and I was like, you look so tall.
I
And
have
it could
legs for
be like you
days.
said, because it's your
the
legs.
My legs.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, beautiful legs. And when you wear the gowns and the dresses, and you look like you're 6 feet tall.
No. My husband says I'm about 5'8", but I think I'm about more 5'7.5". But I love my heels, so.
Yeah,
you are.
that makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
Linda's up there. Linda, give us
can
them
relate.
numbers.
Yes, I
tall
can
girl.
relate to being tall. So I'm just a hair under 6 feet. So I'm like 5'11" ish. So if I wore heels, I'd be like 6'5". But I don't wear heels. So it's kind of one of those things. But yeah, I'm a flat shoe, flip flops kind of girl. But yeah, so when I met Jeanette and Shauna in person, they couldn't believe how tall I was.
I know, because all I see is you on the screen. Like, okay, we're on the screen. And then I met Linda. I was like,
I know, I was laughing at
It's
Jeanette.
amazing. We can't wait for a photo shoot together in one place, the three of us.
Right.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna have to wear some heels because I'm
creatively, so Jeanette is like, look, we were here in the College Park area, and Jeanette is like, she's like looking at me, and I'm like, oh, she's so cute, and I'm like, oh, I'm like a tower, like.
Yes.
And then Shauna and I met. Shauna was like, I'm kind of tall, but then when Shauna saw me, she was like,
I'm not.
I'm
Maybe
short
I'm not
compared
that
to
tall.
Linda.
You're still tall, because even when
You think I'm tall?
Compared to when I stand next to you, yes.
You're tall. Yeah, you look.
You think
tall.
so? You consider that tall?
Yeah.
When I went to my family's from, my mother's family from Puerto Rico, and my mom is like, gosh, I don't even know if she's 5'1". She may be, but all of my cousins and aunties and titis and tios and all of them, they're all like at that level. I remember going to some of their homes and their ceilings were so low. To me, it was low. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, these ceilings are low, and they would look at me and they would say in Spanish, mira que alta, which is look how tall you are. They'd look at me like I was a tree, right? And I would look at them, mira que bajo, look how short you are. But I don't feel like I'm tall unless I come around people that might be a little bit shorter. I feel like I'm average. When I go to get shoes. Now, when I go to pick up shoes, that's when it drives me nuts, because I feel like, I don't know what size shoes you wear, but I wear like an 8.5, and sometimes I can wear 9. I just feel like those are always wiped out. Everybody has those shoes.
How are your feet smaller than mine?
What size shoe I wear?
I wear like a 9.5.
Oh, yeah.
But I've had 4 babies, and so progressively over those 4 pregnancies, my feet has gotten a little bit bigger.
Wow.
But yeah, we're like a 9.5. That's crazy.
See, I'm between a 7 and an 8.5.
Oh wow, nice.
I know, like for tennis shoes,
perfect.
I have to get about a 8.5. Although I don't like tennis shoes. I don't really wear tennis shoes.
Okay.
Because I like my heels.
Yes.
But for tennis shoes, I need about a 8.5. Yeah.
Wow, y'all are
Linda,
what's your size again?
Linda's like, I don't even want to say.
I wear 13, so yeah.
Oh,
baby.
Yes, and my son wears a size 17. He's 6'6". So the height is kind of right. And Maddie wears a size 9. I have a daughter, Maddie. She's 12. So my son is 19.
She wears a 9 at 12.
Yeah, that was about where I was at that age. Yeah,
at that age?
I wear 13. So I
love it. I love height, though. I will tell you, I prefer to have height than not height. So I definitely appreciate that attribute about myself. Can you tell us more about the body shaming that you speak about on the skinny side of things? Because we don't hear that a lot. And I know that your girls have experienced some things. You experienced some things growing up. How did you start becoming like an advocate for that, or what really drove you to want to speak about that? Because there's a lot of people out here, like you said, we neglect that part. We always think about overweight or, challenges on that end, but we don't speak about what others go through being ridiculed?
Well, all my life, I'm 43 years old. I still hear it. I still hear it a lot. People making comments about my body size, and I'm like, I'm 43 years old. Like, why are you still saying these things? Like, we're all adults. But as a kid, I dealt with it a lot, and I really struggled with it. Every day I would go home and cry, and especially when I became a teenager, right? Because as a teen, I was like, look at little boys, and little boys were like, you're cute, but you just too skinny. You need some meat on your bones. And
ladies, I need a huge favor, real fast. Can you come here? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I'm like, you want us to come there? I mean, was that a trick question?
My battery about to run low, and my cord is over there.
Don't go, Shauna,
you're gonna have to edit this, Jeanette.
Yes, I will edit it.
I thought I pressed mute, y'all.
Like, I was like, why is she radioing us?
Was there a blue blanket?
I was trying to come there. I was getting close to the camera. I was going to get there something.
I was looking at Sybil, and I was like,
I said, what?
I thought I was on mute. They done heard me. We're going to have to edit it. I was going to say these and say hi. There's Mamas and Coffee. Remember Mamas and Coffee, Sybil? This is my niece, Mercedes. I'm in Colorado, Sybil.
You in Colorado?
I am in Colorado. ¿Dónde está? Haz eso, por favor. What's that? Because my laptop, when it say it's running low, it really means we about to shut down right now.
I feel
okay.
You. I feel you.
My goodness. I'm back.
Okay.
All right.
Focus.
I was on mute. Thank you, Sadie.
Shauna always got to give me a challenge every episode. Let me tell you, we recorded one not that long ago, and she was talking about Jeanette, I sent you a message. I was like,
yes,
okay, I got it.
Text her, and I said it on.
She said it on the screen.
Y'all are funny. Y'all are hilarious.
Reality.
This is the heart of chat right here.
I love it.
So wild.
If you were feeling nervous, you shouldn't be, because we definitely
yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay, yeah. What was the question again?
We were talking about how you came to the point of this conversation. You were telling us about when you were younger and like the body shaming and how kids say things like they think, and I think because you're skinny, if I can use that word, if it's okay, because you're skinny or thinner, that you shouldn't be upset, because wouldn't people want to be skinny? You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So as a teenager, I would hear it all the time. I would hear people talk about, oh, you're too skinny, especially little boys. This was when I was about 14, 15 years old. And people would just say, eat. If you just eat, you just need to eat. And I'm like, I eat all the time. I eat when I want to eat. Like, I'm not purposely starving myself or anything. Right. And I went through a point in my life where I would just stuff my face. They would like drink milkshakes, eat cake, eat junk to gain weight. And I would do this, but I was then making myself sick. So luckily I realized fairly quickly that was unhealthy. And I stopped. My mom had no clue that I was dealing with any of this. She wasn't at home when I was in the bathroom puking my guts out because I had overstuffed myself. And then it happened again in my 20s. And, I was just like, oh, Sybil, what are you doing? You're trying to put on weight to please other people.
Yes.
And probably, like, I dealt with this for years in silence. I would talk to my husband about it. But probably about 5 years ago, I wrote a guest article about body shaming.
Yes, I remember that article.
And I was very open about it. And I had a grandmother reach out to me and thank me for the article because she had a granddaughter who was dealing with body shaming issues from the skinny perspective, who had started cutting.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. Mm.
And that really touched me. I didn't really know what to say to her or how to reach out any further. I kind of left it alone at that point. And 2 years ago, when we moved here to DC, my daughter was a freshman. My oldest daughter was a freshman. And not only were we moving, we had moved her from Hawaii here. She was trying to make friends, but she came home one day and was just in tears. And I asked her what was wrong, and it was the comments about being skinny. She was 14.
Wow.
Mm,
Same
That
age
took
as
me
you.
back to when
Took
I
you
was,
right back there, didn't it,
Yeah.
Sybil?
Mhm.
Sure.
And it hurt because as a mom, you're watching your child just unravel. And that was the day I decided I'm going to talk about it because I did not want to see my daughter hurting, and I didn't want other teens hurting. And I connected with a group on Facebook that was for skinny women. And I started really reading. I would never say anything. I was just reading their posts. And these are young women
mm-hmm.
to women older than me, just sharing their issues and the comments. And so I said, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to start talking about it. Now, I did get backlash. People came for me because,
Wow.
as you said, Jeanette, how dare you talk?
Yeah.
It's like, skinny. Everyone wants to be skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's
But
wow.
And it makes me think, like when you said that, like how important it is for us to share our story. Because you never know who it can impact. And even if it's from the perspective of, I just want to help my children. And there's certain things that I don't say to my kids because it was said to me, like I say now, and I think a lot of people have seen this, like quote, like, I wish I was the size I was when I thought I was fat. So back when I was younger, I wasn't a big girl younger, but I was thicker than most girls. I developed faster than most girls. And my mom was very skinny. And she's still tiny. She's smaller than me today. And and I can remember like comments like, and I love my mom, like, girl, get your heavy self off of me. Stop. Like you're too big. And I remember taking pictures always with like a hand over my stomach. I didn't even have a stomach. And I remember this this church lady asking me, "Are you pregnant?" And I was like, "No." She said, "Well, women that put their hand over their belly like that is usually because they're pregnant." And in my mind, I was like, "No, it's just like a conscious thing that I did where I just always covered my stomach and hid my body because I thought I was too big because I was more developed than all my friends." Even to the point where I got in trouble at school for wearing a V-neck. It was a very simple V-neck, but because my boobs were bigger, the teacher was like, "You need to put on another shirt." And I walked out of school and I called my mom and I was like, "You seen the shirt I had on?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I remember her like, "Okay, go back." Because back then, when no cell phones, I walked out of school, walked across the street to the beer distributor, the payphone. She said, "All right, we'll go back. I'm gonna call the principal." And I can remember hearing my mom and the principal like going at it, like, "Nope, she's not," and I'll be up there.
Yep.
It's one of those things where you kind of have to tell that story, but then also it helps you like with your own kids to not like repeat that, because we say things so like nonchalantly and not realizing like that it could be a trigger for somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time, going shopping is not an easy task for me. It's not an easy task for my kids. Like my middle daughter and my youngest daughters are double zeros, and they're
wow.
So it's double zero long.
Yes.
When you
That's
think
so hard
about
to
it,
shop for.
right? You walk into the store, there's no double zero longs in the store. And so, when I share that with people, they're like, "Oh, I never really thought much about that." And it's like,
it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And I look at myself in the mirror. Well, I've gotten over it now because
what's your slogan? What's your slogan?
Huh?
It's right behind you. Your slogan.
No, you be you, love you, honey.
That's right.
No, that's right.
That's right.
Yes. But it was very hard for me for most of my life of just dealing, because people call you names in their life, or they'll say, "Oh, you're pretty, but if you gain some weight," and you're like,
That's so
Why would you
I
say
know,
like
so
what?
shallow.
Why did you say that? to me?
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Sybil, you want to share with us? Can you share with us some of the conversations that you have with the male spouse? And I didn't know that it was for non-military spouses as well. I thought you had to be in the military to be a part of that.
No, honey. Look, you're dealing with Sybil Jones. You know,
So inclusion.
male spouse conversations. Again, I've been in this life for almost 19 years, and I never talked about my experiences as a military spouse. And I recently started talking about it because, again, everyone's experiences are different. So I refuse to share my experiences because I was not that spouse who really struggled during deployments, right? So when my husband would leave, I missed him, but I didn't really find myself struggling.
Mhm.
Not to say, and every military spouse does not struggle when their spouses deploy, but I will say, especially when we were in Japan, I found myself in really uncomfortable situations because a lot of the spouses I was around were really having a difficult time, but I never talked about it, right? I never said, like, when they would tell me about the hardships they were having, I would always listen, but I could never just say, oh yes, I'm really having a hard time with my husband as well, right? And how dare you be that spouse? Like, that is what I got. Like, oh, so you don't love your husband because he's gone? And I'm like, what?
Lord.
Oh,
No, like, I love my husband. I miss my husband.
But I'm good. Like, I can't just be good.
Yeah,
I knew what I was signing up for.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, I didn't know what I was. Look, I did not realize anything about the military until March 30th, 2002, when I stand at the altar. That's when I was like, wait a minute, he's in the Navy. What's going on? But, you know, I wanted to give a space for all military spouses to share their stories and not feel like they had to fall in any particular category.
Yeah.
So male spouse conversations came along. I have 6 other conversation starters on board with me and a junior conversation starter. So I have, we get to hear the perspective from a military child.
Oh, I love that piece.
Yeah. So
when did that start?
We kicked off January.
Oh yeah, that's new.
Yep.
Oh, say kids, and you know, Shauna's like, what?
Shauna's like,
something for the children.
I want to, because they gonna tell the truth, baby.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yes, they do. So we have, we're trying to have every branch represented. Right now, I do not have a spouse from every branch, but the goal is to have a spouse from every branch, veteran spouse, newbie spouse. I want to have every perspective because, again, for me, when my husband deployed, I only heard from one angle, right? Okay. And so there are other spouses out there who have different experiences, but you just don't hear that piece. So I want everyone. So, you know, the team of spouses that I have right now, it's really funny because when we come together and we're talking about our experiences about deployments, you know, I'm sitting over here like, yeah, no way. But it's okay. You know, it is okay. They are very understanding because there is another piece where I struggled and they did not. And so together as a team, we share our experiences, and we stream live every first and third Thursday of the month. So it's live, y'all.
All the way live.
It's all the way live. But we talk about everything. We've talked about intimacy. We've talked about PCSing, and it's not just military stuff. It is life. it's life.
I like
and
that.
And we also want, because I know a lot of my civilian friends, they don't understand the day to day. They're always, oh, well, when you move, what do you do when you move? What does that look like? So we want to bridge that gap so everyone understands. Yeah,
I like that. It's like you're providing spaces for advocacy. Basically, you're an advocate for, from the body shaming to the male spouse. And I want to touch on your Mamas and Coffee brand, your baby that was created same time I created Ina and Link, and how we found each other online. And talk to us a little bit about that and your coffee chat series that you have.
So Mamas and Coffee is, as we said earlier, all about empowering women, one sip at a time. It's not necessarily about coffee. People are like, oh, we're going to talk about coffee.
Just bring your coffee.
Right. That's
bring your black coffee.
How do you like your coffee?
Oh, wait a minute.
Bring your black coffee.
We're gonna start. See, Jeanette started it. Yes. No. How do you like your coffee?
Don't do black coffee, Sybil. That's why I turned my video off. How you do?
I like a little bit of coffee with my cream and sugar.
Yes.
Linda got it. Linda got it out the three of us. I'm going off. See you later. Adios.
I'm about to take it straight back to Jersey, even though I live in the DC area. But my coffee.
She said,
I said, yes. We had a whole episode, Sybil, about this. Okay.
Yes. The power of black coffee.
Black coffee. I wrote the tagline. I like a little bit of coffee with my cream. My girl. See?
Yes.
That is not coffee. That is milk. That's cream.
Right now, there's a lot of cream and sugar.
Yes.
In this cup, a little bit of coffee. But coffee does absolutely nothing for me. I can drink an entire pot of coffee and go to sleep.
But see, I don't drink my coffee just to stay awake. I actually really like the way it smells and it tastes. I had given it up for like a year. I was vegetarian for a year and I gave up coffee for a year. And I really just missed the aroma of it and the fullness of coffee. I love coffee.
Well,
it's a beautiful experience.
Well, look, how real can I be right now?
Oh, as real as you want to be.
On the heart of chat. Let's get it.
So number one, I cannot make coffee at all. My husband makes coffee. And I don't know what we're gonna do when we move to San Diego, or what I'm gonna do when we move to San Diego, because he's going to be on sea duty. So I don't know how that's gonna go. But coffee. I gotta go poop after. I don't know.
I just caught it. I was like, wait a minute.
Really? I knew what she was gonna say, but I think that's why I stopped putting cream in my coffee, because it's the warmness of the cream. When I just drink black coffee, I'm good.
I don't experience that.
Me neither.
Yes, and don't change my coffee. Like I know. Look. Because my husband, he likes to try different coffees, right? And I'm like, dude, you changed my coffee, because it is like as soon as I take a sip of coffee, if he's changed it, I'm like,
your body is like, hold on, this is not right.
I got to go. So if we, Shauna, when we meet and we have coffee somewhere, and I'm like, excuse me. I'm going to the bathroom.
Coffee doesn't do that for me, but you know what does? Green tea. I cannot drink green tea.
Green tea doesn't do that
at all.
Yeah.
I'm done.
So funny.
Yeah,
I love it. This is
green tea. I'm a black tea person. I like everything from Sumatra,
black tea's
black
good.
tea, all that kind of stuff. That is like my thing. So
that's your thing.
Because you usually do tea in the evening, right, Linda? And your coffee during the day?
Yeah, coffee during the day. Like I've already had my cup of coffee today, a whole lot of cream, the original cream. I don't need all them different flavors.
Coffee today.
All that kind of stuff. give me a Lipton tea bag in the evening. I'm good.
Linda old school. Give me that Lipton tea.
Yeah, I'm old school.
Right.
Dad Jones is a tea guy. He has his tea every night before bed.
Awesome.
Every night he makes his tea and he drinks it like this. Hold on. This is what happened. You hear it.
I gotta watch the video, listeners, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm like,
Slurping.
I love that. That's how I roll too.
Like, stop
To
that.
slurp or not to slurp? That is the question.
I love
Look,
that.
speaking of spouses, that is something like you have to accept all their little quirks because you just be looking at them like, oh, you are so glad, so lucky I love you,
You do.
right now.
You do. You have to accept it all.
So
Tell
you
us about your coffee series you had last year.
Okay,
Did
look.
you start them back up?
I have, yes. So this year's theme for Mamas and Coffee and all of the series that I'm having for the Coffee Talk is fear. But fear standing for face everything and rise.
I like that.
Yes.
So I have wanted to do a series on fear for like 2 years, but I was afraid. To
Oh
do
my
it,
goodness.
right?
That's how that's how it be,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, Sybil, you talk about knowing yourself, being yourself, love yourself, but you over here afraid of talking about, so like, come on, girl, get it together. So August of 2020, my grandmother passed, and Shauna knows my granny was like my world. Like she's my wisdom, she's my rock. Like Granny, what Granny says.
Oh yeah.
That's
That's the
do not dispute anything the Granny says, ever. And
Yes.
so she passed away in August, 98 years old. So she lived a wonderful life. And so I was trying to plan what I was going to talk about in Mamas and Coffee, because I'm random, y'all. As y'all see, I'm like super random. And so I was like, come on, Sybil, like 2021, you got to get your life together and have a series here. And so I was like, one thing she always has told me, she's like, you talk all the time. You talk to a stop sign. And you need to use your gift. And your gift is the gift of God. And that is something she has always told me since I was a little girl. And I just remember telling her about Mamas and Coffee and what I was trying to do, but I was afraid. I was just afraid of really putting myself out there. She's like, you just got to do it, Bootsy. You just got to do it. It's okay. People are going to love you or hate you. You're like, what?
They make it
Right,
sound
that's
so
what I
simple,
don't
right?
want.
They make it sound so like just simple. Like, they love you. They might hate you, but who cares? Just do you.
Yeah. And so when she passed, I said, she always told me to stop being afraid. To stop being afraid. And so I was like, fear. How am I going to face my fear and talk about fear? And I think actually last year I did promote that I was going to talk about fear, facing everything and rising, but I didn't. I did not do it. And I was like, ugh. So after talking to myself and after having some little moments where my granny was talking to me after her passing, because you be in the shower.
Yes.
Whoa, wait a minute. I said, I'm going to talk about fear. So every series that I do, it's going to be, I think, January, I introduced the series of fear. So I'm going to talk about self-love. Why do we fear loving ourselves? And how do we face whatever our obstacles are that's keeping us from loving ourselves? The fear of taking me time, because I'm really big on self-love and self-care, but I break self-care down into me time because people are always like, I don't have time for self-care. So I'm like, well, me time, I define it as 15 minutes to 60 minutes a day. And if you can't give yourself 15 minutes a day, I really need you to reevaluate your life.
Absolutely.
Because everybody has at least 15 minutes a day. Now, I'm not going to lie. I take a lot of 15 minutes.
That's what I love about you, Sybil. I truly love that you understand how you have to fill your cup daily, and you take it and you do it without apologizing to your children or your husband. And I also love when you speak about your relationship with your husband and how you have to make sure that that is on point,
Mhm.
and then the children after. And I
Yes.
love that.
Yes, I am a firm believer in my household. It is God first. It is myself and my husband. Like we a tight race, because again, I feel that I cannot feed into my husband if I am not feeding into myself. And that is where I take, that me time every day, to ensure that I'm there for my husband. And then my children. And I know so many people feel some kind of way, like, oh, wait a minute, you put your kids last. No, I'm not putting my kids' needs last. My kids are taken care of. But you know what? My husband was here for the kids.
And we'll be
That's
there
right.
when they leave.
Yes.
And they own
That's
kids.
right.
Yes. I don't want to look at my husband, again, my kids 12, 14, and 16. Clock is ticking. I don't want to look at my husband when they all out the house like,
who are you?
Who?
Right. Yes.
Let's date one another. Like, even during COVID, we still date. We have dates in the basement.
That's right.
We still date one another. So yeah, but my Coffee Talk series this year is all about fear.
Yes. Are you taking guests for that? Or are you have you thought about that?
I have thought about, but see, Sybil is over here right now. Because I keep changing, because I was doing them every month, right? And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do these every month. We are also preparing to move.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I was like, I don't know if I can do these every single month. So I've been working through that schedule, but I do want to have guests. Last year I had guests. Shauna came and did one last year. Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
If you ever would like the Heart of Chat to come in town to speak to fear on one of your episodes this year, just give us a holler.
That'd be amazing.
I think it would be fun. I think it would be really fun to have Heart of Chats not only on Mamas and Coffee, but Mill Spouse Conversations too.
Oh, let us know.
Wonderful.
We all got some different
yes, we do. Yes.
Spouse perspectives.
Yes.
I mean, even from, I always like to know, because you guys know military families, right?
Yeah.
I always want to know, like, what non-military spouses think of military spouses. Like, what is the relationship like from your perspective, right? Because I'll tell you, when I go into meeting new friends, I'm like, I'm rolling in town, then I'm gonna be rolling out. But I want to, it's like, what do civilians think when they meet someone? Like, oh, I'm a military spouse. Like, are you thinking like, oh, they gonna leave? I don't want to be their friend.
That's a good point. Because living and working here in the DC area, I know a lot of military families and retired military families. I work for the federal government, but now I'm on the government side as a contractor. So that's all I work with is like military, spouses, male and female. So got the whole gamut, especially being rooted here in DC. You just see that a lot. So I have, a good number of friends, close friends that are military spouses or ex-military spouses. Maybe their husband or partner left the military at some point, but they're still kind of living in that military space, whether they're, police officers or whatever. So can definitely relate.
Yeah.
So I low-key envy military spouses because
the truth. Tell us how you feel.
Right?
I'm a person that loves change. Like, my husband is from the town that we live in Greenville, South Carolina. He was born here. He was raised here. His family's been here their whole life. So I know I'm like stuck. I'm never leaving. I grew up in Philly. My mom, we moved a little bit, but I'm like 2 years, like, oh, can I move somewhere else, babe? Can we move? He like, no. I'm like, okay, fine. So like that part of it, and I know it's not as I know it's not that for some people it may not be great. Some people may love it. And I know there's always like two sides to it, but like, I love the possibility of being able to travel and live and experience these different places. So like, for me, it's like, Okay, yeah, we can definitely be friends. Can I come visit you?
Right.
And my husband is like, oh, go ahead. You can fly out and travel and visit your friends. I'll be here with the kids when you get back. Like he's like, so like go with the flow. So yeah, no, I low key.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh. I actually tried to join the military myself, but it didn't work out because I had a kid and I was 18 and they was like, no, give her up and then we can let you join. And I was like, I'm not giving my kid
no.
up.
Yeah.
So we won't be doing that. But
Yeah.
so no, I can appreciate
I love it.
of the military life. But yeah, I can imagine the deployment piece would probably get me because then I'm like, oh, I'm just me again.
Well, I was telling a friend of mine the other day, it's like this go around, we'll have teenagers with my husband deploying.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Different
interesting.
experience.
Yeah, because they were little, and it was just like, oh, okay, whatever. They're little. It is what it is. But now I'm like, ooh, they really have opinions. Like, and I'm the parent that I'm a little sterner.
I love it too. I love the way you discipline your girls. I do. I love it.
My husband is like, well, let's talk about it. He's very patient. And I'm like, no, let's talk.
They're going to be in the room with like a phone. Daddy.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I come from a large military family, both sides of my family. My father's Marine, mostly Marine.
My daddy too.
And yeah, my dad's a Marine and now he's a vet. And all my uncles, my aunties, all of them. And I almost went to Jeanette. Almost went to, and I had my child too. So I did not want to sign him away to somebody just to go do a military career. It didn't feel right for me. A lot of people meet me and the first thing they'll say is, what branch were you in? I'm like, huh? They're like, what branch were you in? Everyone swears that I've been in the military. And it's so funny how, because I grew up with a very military-like family, that you do raise your children in a way that almost like they are in the military.
That's true.
My dad
I get that a lot.
I do too. Just in the line of work that I've been doing. I was 17 when I joined, the government. So my dad was in the Army. So, and his father before him. So they were like first lieutenants in the Army. So when my dad raised us and we were, very like on point, always on time early is what people say. They still tell me that today, even with the kids. Like I was joking with my daughter, Madison, she's 12. And I told her, I said, Maddie, when my dad was raising us, we would have our cereal bowls on the table the night before, covered up. All we had to do was pour the milk.
Oh,
he was like, really like that. And I'm kind of like that. Everything has to be like, I couldn't get on here this morning without making sure all of my stuff was in its place. And that was my dad. Like he was the same way. My mother, she's pretty organized, but my dad was the one. Like so people, when I met people coming up, they were like, oh, you were in this, what branch of the military you were in? I'm like, no, because people automatically think that because of the work that I do and because of, being that on time early kind of status.
Oh,
so
that's my dad right there.
Relate.
If you're on time, you're late. So
yes,
that's it.
My dad used to say that all the time. So,
yeah. People ask me if I'm active duty, and I'm like,
oh wow,
do you? Why would you think I'm active duty? Like, no. And after they talk to me for like 5 minutes, they're like, yeah, no.
I can imagine you are, and I know you very well, Sybil. You are a fresh of breath air for Dad Jones, because having to be in that arena all the time and so disciplined and everything, he'd come home to you call yourself raw and random all the time. And that must just be so exciting, to be able to switch that off and have an environment in which it's just like,
he told the girls the other day, he's like, I still remember when I first saw your mom. And I love her more today than I did when I first laid eyes on her. And the thing I love most about her is she is herself And she is as random as all.
He's always telling Sybil, like Sybil, when she first was doing her brand, she was doing different videos and she was talking like all over, and he would come in and say, okay, you have to focus on this, this, and this. And then her and I would talk about it because Lorenzo would do the same thing to me and would tell me, okay, you were like so off topic. You really need to get into Toastmasters. You need to focus and zero in and you know. But we would talk about that all the time, how they support our brands and how they kept us in line and everything.
I can imagine y'all conversation is going very long.
Don't even. Oh, Sybil, gosh, we haven't had a talk in a minute, but it will schedule it. We'll say 1 hour. Oh man, we're on 3 to 5 hour calls.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. But you know, the one thing that I do love, because he told me, I did a talk one day and I was very focused. I was like, and he said, "Oh, don't do that again. You were very boring." He was like, "You were rehearsed." Because I rehearsed. And he's like, "That is not, you don't ever do that. Continue doing what you're doing." I'm like, okay, you know. Because in the mornings when I do lives, I don't do them in my PJs anymore.
She's done quite a few.
My youngest daughter is my stylist. She
got to have one.
She put me on. She put herself on my payroll. Then she charged me too. She sends me an invoice. I have to pay her on the first of the month.
I love it.
She charges me. Her interest rates are out this world.
I love it. Businesswoman.
She's like, you need to dress up a little bit. But I used to do my lives in my PJs.
You did.
Hair scarf.
Head wrap.
Boo-goo,
they loved it.
Straight out the bed.
And she get 1,000 views on these videos. They reshared it.
She was the original Bonnet Chronicle.
I would go and I would just talk, like, what am I going to talk about this morning? Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about, because that's real life to me. And, you know, I always want everyone to feel comfortable. And I'm extremely unpolished, but I tell you, what you see is what you get.
So what I like about like the theme that I'm hearing, like when you're telling your story, is like the theme is like acceptance of self in all things, right? Whether it's the body that you live in, whether it's, you know, the way you show up for people, the type of spouse or mom or parent that you are, like just acceptance of yourself in all things that you do. How did you even come to Mamas and Coffee, right? So like, what was your dreams before even starting Mamas and Coffee? Because, you know, none of us knew what blogging was before. None of us, because we're all 40 plus, was like, oh, when I grow up, I want to be a blogger. Like,
no.
So my degree is in logistics and marketing. That is what my education is. I actually met my husband in college. He was my orange. But my degree is in logistics and marketing, and I was very career focused. I did not want to be married. I did not want kids. I was going to live in New York, not New York, California, in this condo with all white furniture and drive a white drop top Benz. Like, that's what I was going to do.
That's my 8-year-old right now. Okay, honey.
I was going to be this big executive. I married my husband, who is a naval officer. We started having kids. I didn't want to have kids. I was like, I'll have you a baby. That's literally what I said. Sure, I'll have you a baby. And he's like, that's not how that works. And then once we had one, I stayed at home. I walked away. I had a great job as a logistics manager for a company in Florida. I walked away from that to be at home with her. And then we had number 2, number 3, and I was hating being at home. I hated being at home. So I decided, this is when the mommy blogs were coming.
Yes.
I started a mom's blog, and I was going to talk about, I didn't know anything about blogs, but I was like, let me just do this. And I was going to talk about all the great things of being a mother. That's what I was going to do. But it was a lie, because it wasn't that I didn't love my kids. I didn't enjoy being a mom in the sense that the world, that society was painting as a mom.
I feel you.
Yep.
And then once my kids started school, and then I was really big on education, anti-bullying, self-esteem. So I had Mom's Blog and I had Preschool to Teen, which talked about anti-bullying and self-esteem in youth. But I didn't know how to market that. Different story of marketing products and commercial industry, but online, I didn't understand the online thing. And I just thought, you publish a blog and everybody will come find you.
Right.
And then one day I was sitting at the table talking to my husband, and he was like, why do you, because I have 50 million things going on. Like, I had all these things going. He's like, you have too much going on and you're not doing anything successfully. But I'm like, but and I was also tutoring at that time. And one of my students' moms, we became friends, and we decided we were going to start a YouTube channel, and we were going to be the Broke Hoda and Kathy Lee. We were going to be. And I said, Mamas and Coffee. The name Mamas and Coffee came to me because she's a mom, I'm a mom. And I was like, Mamas and Coffee. And so when I presented it to her, she backed out. I don't want to do the YouTube channel, but business woman, I said, I'm going to buy the domain name. And
yes, you did.
Yep. And I parked it and I sat on it. I prayed about it. And then I started the Facebook group, and I just wanted it to be a small, intimate thing, like with 5 people. That's all I wanted. But I was being very real and honest over there. And other women were like, oh my gosh, you are saying everything that I want to say. And it was, Mamas and Coffee was originally a spot for one of my kids downstairs looking at me, sorry. It originally became a spot just for moms to come and talk. But then I saw that need of giving a space for women to be real, because it's just not about moms, it's for women in general, for them to be real and honest. But I also I feel that I am an uplifting person. So I was like, you know what? And I would hear most of the time the women doubting themselves and always trying to be someone else. And I had the Know You Be You Love You message under the Preschool to Teen label. That's where it originally started. And so I believe when I was in Hawaii, I decided to take Preschool to Teen and put it under the umbrella of Mamas and Coffee. And then I brought that Know You Be You Love You, because I was like, it's just not for kids. We need to get that message to adults, because if me as a mom, if I'm not loving myself, how am I going to teach my kids to love themselves? So it was a hobby. I'm not gonna lie. Mamas and Coffee I've treated it as a hobby for how long, Shauna? Too long.
A long time. Then Dad Jones stepped in and got on your case about really honing in and crafting this into a business, a brand.
Yeah. So it all started, from me moving from wanting to be this executive one day, and now I'm like, I'm an executive now and owning my own. But yeah, I was very focused on my career. I wanted to be that power woman, and I was. I tell people all the time, talking to me now, I ramble all over the place, but when I was in logistics, I would go in there and we could negotiate in this contract. Let's do it. And it would throw people off, right? Yeah. Even my coworkers, they were like, Sybil is so wild and free in the office, but gosh, she will eat you alive at the table. Yes. We
have many gifts.
Yes, we do.
Right.
Yes.
I really love that, because a lot of women can relate to that that same feeling or story, or even just like what you said resonated so much when you're like, I love my kids, but like I had my oldest daughter at 17. She's 24 now. And it wasn't until she was 15 that I even had other kids.
Mhm.
And I was like, God, it's so funny because I'm like, you know, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be in my 30s when she's gone. I'm gonna live my best life. I'm gonna go live my life. And he's like, nope, we're gonna marry this country boy. He gonna give you gift you 3 babies that you don't have to birth, but you're gonna love, and then he's gonna give you 3 more babies that you're gonna have to birth. And now you got 7 kids. Ha ha. Like, what you gonna do with that?
Shout out to the country boy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I was like, oh,
It's some country boys. They get you every time. My husband's from
every
Mississippi.
time.
And
Oh, see?
yeah. I was like, we stopping at 30.
Where are you from originally, Sybil?
I'm a country gal too. I'm from
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. That's right.
Ah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I'm from East Tennessee.
Nice.
Oh, my mom. Well, yeah. So my mom lives right on the border of Tennessee. She's in Bristol, Virginia.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, I am right outside of Knoxville.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
I'm from I'm gonna put it on the map. I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
I'll type it. Rockwood.
Okay.
All right. Put it on the
Just
map.
like it sounds, ain't nothing but rocks and wood. But
That's how the town I was born in is like in the valley of the mountain, literally. Like there's a mountain and the town was in the valley. Like that's where I was born. So I completely
Wow.
understand that whole area.
yeah, it's funny because my husband told me that he used to take that interstate coming from, because he's from Mississippi, but we went to school in Memphis.
Mm.
But he would travel he was doing an internship in Nashville, and I didn't ask him why he was going to Knoxville. This was before we knew one another, so I'm not gonna don't start asking
Right.
questions.
Right.
But he told me that he would always drive by and he would look over the embankment of the interstate. Like that he always wondered what was down in that little valley. And he's like, little did he know.
His wife.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yep.
You know how I feel about the whole soulmate, love, mate, match, just the energy of love. And you
Mhm.
know that I'm in the almost finishing editing with Linda through her publishing company, the love story that
Mhm.
about my husband and I, the power of love energy. So every time you and I talk about that and I hear about the difference, the stuff that you and Dad Jones experience, I love that. And I love that your husband shares it with your daughters so your daughters can see and know what love is.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know,
That's, yep.
Yeah.
wow.
Amazing.
Yep,
Amazing.
Yep. Oh, that's been a topic a lot in this household because, we have our
Teenage.
oldest can date now, COVID is helping delay that a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
goodness.
But
Great.
he talks to all 3 of them, but he really is driving it home with her about, how a young man should respect you. And, anytime there's any concerns or issues, to come talk to him, to talk to me, not to dismiss
Awesome.
us when we, because as parents, you see things, right? You'd be like,
Mhm.
Yes.
bad dad.
Yeah. Well, my oldest, we've always been very open, and I've always told her, look, because we used to have these like no repercussion talks, and I'm like, but just give me a minute, because like I know you're gonna hit me with something that's gonna shock me, and I'm not gonna be mad. Like, I'm just let me take it in, and then we can have a conversation about it. But it's helped over the years, and like even like to the point where her friends would come to me like, I can't talk to my parents. Can I talk to your mom? And so I think it's just really important. I think, and it's even not more, but it's great that your husband also has those type of conversations, because a lot of times the dads, when it comes to the girls, they be like, oh, I don't want to touch that. Go talk to your mom.
He gets to have lots of interesting conversations. I have pictures of him sitting at the dining room table, and they're having girl talk, and he, because he'll keep asking questions, because they're like, no daddy, he'll keep asking questions, and they'll look over at me, and I'm like, and then they start talking, and all you see, he'll be like, Like, you kept asking.
Yeah.
I know what post you're talking about. You posted something about that recently, and I was like, wow. But then I was like, you know what? That's the life that he's in. He's birthed 3 females.
Mhm.
So he has to take part in those conversations that females will have with their mom. And he does it so eloquently, and he may cringe, but I love that they feel so comfortable speaking to him about everything that's going on with them, from their bodies to their feelings on life. And so I know what post you're talking about.
And he even went to the store. I was like, you go, Dad.
That is
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
Love it. Love it. Oh,
Sybil, this is like so we can definitely talk to you for like 2-3 hours because we all relate. Like, we're moms, we're wives.
mhm.
Like, it's just so much. We're women. Like, it's so many things that we can relate to. And as Shauna would say, we're human, right? It's all about the human experience. What advice for self-acceptance do you have for our audience? Like, because like we said, it could be so many different things. Like, you know, your hair is to this, to that. It's not that. You can't feel that way because other people, the majority, feel this way. Like, a lot of our audience, they're our age, 40 plus, but we still all deal with those type of insecurities and
Oh, yes.
the fear of like even just expressing who we are and the things that we want to do in our life, because like, you can't do that, you're too old, or whatever the case may be. Like, what advice do you have for our audience just around like self-acceptance in anything?
Honey, love you. Love you. Everyone else's voice, ignore it. Ignore it.
Yes.
Don't let their negativity break you. Can shake you. I always say, you may shake me, but you sure in the heck ain't gonna break me.
That's right.
Every single morning, I tell my audience, I tell my girls, I tell myself, I tell my husband, give yourself a pep talk every morning. Get up, look yourself in the mirror, and tell yourself how wonderful of a person. Actually, because I used the word fabulous. How fabulous you are.
Yes.
If you love it, love it. You know, if there's something that you want to go for it. The reason that I used the word fear this year, and I've changed it to face everything and rise, is because using the word fear, right? Fear, the meaning of fear, that you're scared, you're terrified, and we will continue to let that word fear creep in. But when I said, okay, I'm going to take fear and change it to face everything and rise. Anytime I get a bit of doubt in my head, I'm like, fear it, Sybil, fear it. But I have trained my mind to think of it as I'm going to face it and rise above. So don't let other people's negativity creep into your head. That pep talk, I give myself a pep talk every day, every single day. And just, quick 3 seconds. I love my hair. I love me. I'm going to knock this out the park.
That's right.
If I tell you can't do it, just silently give them the bird.
I know that silently, or
Yes, I did. That says
out
silently.
loud, whatever you got to do.
Smoke signals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it made me think when you said that, like, maybe I need to record, like on a good day, I need to record myself giving myself a pep talk, so I can just pop it in my head, pop my earphones in, and listen to it in my own voice. So,
in
like,
your own voice, yeah.
So,
I mean, you have to be your own cheerleader. I think we often look for other people to encourage us. You have to encourage yourself. Yeah. No one is going to cheer for you or be as loud for your success than your own self. Yeah. And that is something that I had to learn. My husband is extremely supportive, but I have to cheer for myself. Because until I believe that I am fabulous, there's only so much that he can do. There's only so much Shauna can do. I mean, Shauna, we've talked many a times, like she had said earlier, and I know what needs to be done, but I would continue to allow my own negative thoughts to creep into my head. Shauna's over here cheering, my husband's over here cheering. But until I got it together and was like, you're a fabulous lady.
Yes.
You know, your body is perfect the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter. So yeah, be your number one cheerleader.
Yeah.
I love that.
Love
That's
it.
nice.
Love it.
Wow.
This was awesome.
Thank
Sybil,
you.
Mom Jones. Great having you on. Oh my
Thanks
goodness.
for having me.
Yes,
Lots of
thank
gems.
you.
The acceptance piece is so key. Like Jeanette tied in here is really, really wonderful. And we just love having you. Your energy, we love it. It's amazing. Yes, know
Yes.
you, be you, do you. Love, love, love that. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So Shauna, any last words before you take us out? We got some
So
I
where
just
we
want
can
to thank
find
you
her
for
at.
coming. We have some merchandise, everybody. You can get your sweatshirts, your t-shirts, your Heart of Chat mask at our site. Our store is live. We have our coffee mugs. We have our journals. So we have you covered. We have your back covered at the Heart of Chat. So yes. So if you like to, please follow us. You can find us at IG, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Make sure you're on our mailing list so that every Monday you can get something in your mailbox for Meatful Monday. And that will be a new episode every week. And please come back next week and every week. Because Jeanette, what's it going to be?
You hit
Linda,
us
what's it going to be? Sybil, what's it going to be?
No.
It's going to be Fuego, baby. Come back.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone. We'll have links where you can find Sybil in our show notes.
Yes.
Thank
yes.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.